Hey there, welcome to a new video. In this video we are going to talk about audio effect track. Audio effect track is an audio effect that allows us to do a lot of things, and this single effect literally skyrocketed my production and mixing skills all at once. So just pay attention to this video because it's a really simple effect, but it's also easy to miss out some key features. So this is the audio effect track. We have the first module, we have 3 of them. Let's start with the macros. These are the macros, and they are knobs that we can use to collect multiple parameters of other individual effects that we import inside of the single audio effect track, and we can automate all the mapped parameters at once, simultaneously. We can rename, and we can also color code them. We can also add some info text to the single macro if we want to instruct someone, if we are selling or sharing the audio effect track, or if we want just to remember some key features about the mappings and the values we want to set with the single macro. Then we have the module where we can drag and drop, create and manage all the chains. So right click, create chain, and each chain has the basic controls of each track. We have the volume, we have the panning, turn on and off, the chain activator, and then we have the chain solo. And here's the hot swap presets. We can just use it to quickly switch with other chains. Then we can use Command D or Control D if whether you are on Mac or Windows, and create multiple chains. We can just reorder them, and we can also color them and rename them and add some info text. Then we have this switch, chain and hide. Now it's on hide. Let's click on chain, and it opens this window. And we have these selectors, and they are great because we can do several things with them. We can the main tip I want to share is this one. If we click and drag this little thing, this little line, and we do the same but mirrored on the other chain or the other chains, depending on how many of them you have, then we have this chain selector that we can map, and basically this is a dry wet knob between the chain 1 and the chain 2. At the moment we have 100% of the first chain. If we go here, we have 50%, and here we have 100% of the second chain. The only thing, beware, because this thing, when put at halfway or anywhere in the middle, it will lead to some loss of volume. So just beware. And also we can use them in this other way. We can just make a chain here, another one here. Let's make a third one. And let's say I just move this thing. Okay. If I keep my macro here, we'll be able to hear only this chain. If we move it here, only this chain will be active. we move it here, only this chain will be active. If we move this chain here, we'll have chain 2 and chain 3 active at this moment. So this is really important. Then we also have the auto select, and simply it does this thing. So depending on where we move our chain selector, it selects the chain or the chains that are below this blue thing. Then we have the most important part, where we can drop the audio effects. So you can simply drop some effects. You can also drop audio effect tracks inside of audio effect tracks and so on. There's no limit. In Pro Words, we have multiple tracks inside a single track. We can set different values, and now let's see how we can map. So we can click on the map button, and we can click on the highlighted parameter. The highlighted parameters are the one we can map. So let's try with envelope, with attack, and so on. So we can see that if we map a single parameter, we will see the actual value of the parameter, of the mapped parameter. If we map, let's say, the release on the envelope modulation, we will see the value spanning from 0 to 127. This is because the two values they use aren't matching. Instead, if we use the same value, let's say base to macro 4 and base to map to base, it just gets the name of the first thing you map, but you can change it later. We will see that the value is displayed as on the single insert. Also, we can remove the mapping by right clicking on the mapping on the mapped macro, or we can remove on by right clicking on the single value, or we can also move it somewhere else. So we have this mapped to the new base and not on the old one anymore. So if we click on the map button, we also see the macro mappings, and this window is really important because it allows us to fine-tune the mapping we want. Let's say we want to manage the attack, the time of the attack only between let's say 10 milliseconds and 15 milliseconds, okay, which is a really narrow range, and it would be really painful to move within by only using the original range of this parameter. By doing this, we can really fine-tune each parameter, and this is really cool because some effects like frequency shifter needs to be set accurately, and sometimes just typing the value is a too time consuming process, and you know, it's a lot of second guessing. You have to do some trial and error. So this is what I recommend doing. Another thing I I also suggest, this is more a workflow tip. Let's say we have a single chain with different distortion effects stacked together. We can select them together, then use Ctrl G or Command G, and we can group all the effects of a single type or used for a single purpose together. I used to do this, let's say, on amps, saturations, overdrive. I just put them together so I can turn on and off at once, and it's like a sort of native distortion suite I made. And let's say then I have some EQing. Maybe I want to remove some resonances with the EQ8, and then I want to do some mid-side EQing, some corrective mid-side EQing apart with another EQ8. I just do the second EQ8 and then I group them together so I can really condensate everything together, and I have a more streamlined chain. I also do the same with reverbs and delays. The cool thing with this is that we can make parallel processing really easily. One thing I always do is taking the reverb. Let's say I don't want to set a new return track for the reverb because it's going to be used only on a specific track. I just throw the reverb here on the single track, then I go and group it, so a new audio effect track, then I create chain and I have a dry chain and a reverb chain, and now I have I made a return track, a sort of a return track inside the track, and this is really great. So I highly recommend doing this if you are not going to use the return track on one single element. So this is it for the audio effect track. It's really easy, it's really simple, but some things usually are overlooked, especially the chain window, the chain selector window, and the macro mappings. So this is it. See you in the next video.